Appointment and Equity Committee to order Tuesday, June 16th. Sorry for the delay to all of our guests. Can we have a roll call, please?
Calling the roll, Ms. Conwell.
Here.
Mr. Gallagher.
Here.
Mr. Germana.
Here.
Mr. Miller.
Here.
Ms. Brown.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Anyone signed in for public comment?
No, Madam Chair, no one has signed in.
All right, I believe everyone was here. Can I have a motion for the approval of the minutes from the June 2nd meeting?
So moved.
All right, moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
If you could read the first, well, let me just stop and say, does anyone have a time limitation? Are they good the way the agenda reads? Okay, so if you could read the first item into the record, please.
Resolution 2015-0107, a resolution confirming the county executive's appointment of Gary Shamus to serve on the Cuyahoga County Audit Committee to fill a vacancy in an incomplete term commencing immediately and ending 12/31/2020, and declaring the necessity that this resolution become immediately effective.
All right, thank you. Mr. Glassburn, if you could please tell the committee a little bit about the Audit Committee.
Certainly, and again, thank you for your patience, and my apologies to mayors and Mr. Shamus, Mr. Coyne, and the other gentlemen in the audience as well. The Audit Committee is a 5-member committee. It consists of the county executive, the fiscal officer, 2 residents, and I forget the exact title of our internal auditor. But the Audit Committee primarily looks at the functionality of our government. It is not so much an accounting, just purely accounting, but also to make sure that when we say we made 1,000 widgets, that we in fact made 1,000 widgets. So Mr. Shamus is the executive's nominee for the term until 2020. The reason for my tardiness is that we believe, after some discussions with the clerk of council, that this may need to be split up into 2 resolutions covering the remainder of the way that I'm sorry, let me take a step back. The 2 citizen members on the audit committee's terms coincide with 1 year past an executive's term and 2 years past an executive's term. This term should be the one that is 1 year past the first executive's term, Mr. Fitzgerald's term. So we may need to do a separate resolution, which would be for the balance of this year, and then the second being going forward into Mr. Budish's term. So that's what we're trying to resolve. So I believe we'll be coming to council with 2 resolutions in effect, one for the balance of this year and one going forward.
Okay, and Mr. Shamus, is he fulfilling one of the residents' requirements?
Yes, Mr. Shamus will be one of the residents.
Okay, so how would, moving forward with today, how would that affect, is he on the first term that you're talking about? So
there is another resident right now, Mr. Aversall, who is the treasurer for Tri-C. He's one of the other residents. His current term goes 2 years into this administration. So what we'll be doing with Mr. Shamus is that he will be fulfilling the unexpired term that goes 1 year into this administration. And then we also would like to request council's approval for the term extending for the Budish administration. Am I clear on this?
Madam Chair.
Councilman.
So we're gonna move him on the first term, and in 6 months bring him back. Why would we have to? That's what we should do.
We would like to, as administration, get to the point where we're submitting nominees to you before the terms expire.
But he's fulfilling the unexpired term.
Yes.
And then at the end of the unexpired term, resubmit them, is what I'm saying.
That we could do it. We could do it any number of ways in terms of time.
But we have to be careful not to set a precedent to be doing this down the line, because we're probably going to run into this on many other instances. So we do the unexpired term today, and then when he's renominated, he'll come back. You want them both, but I think that's the wrong path to take.
We would like to, whether it's 6 months before a term is expired, 3 months before a term is expired, 1 month before a term is expired, we would like to get to the point where when we're making nominations for any board or commission that we're coming to you before the term is expired. That way council has enough time to have its 3 hearings, to consider the nominee, so that we're not leaving boards with inherent vacancies for 2, 3, or more months into those next terms.
So as we move forward, I would
Right.
suggest the submission of the name of the person that's going to fulfill the full term and give us proper time to vet that and then move them forward. So in 3 months,
Correct.
I would suggest that you move Mr. Seamus's name back to us for the full unexpired term, for the new term.
Correct. So what we may do, what probably would make most sense for this is to have council amend the resolution so that it is for just the unexpired term, and then we come back.
Yeah, Madam Chair, I think that's the best way to go, because we're setting a precedent here. And I think we need to be consistent in what we do. And these are going to continue to happen. We're learning as we go.
Yes.
Thank you.
Councilman.
Is the position currently vacant?
Yes, and it has been for quite some time.
Even though it's not expressed here, and therefore Councilman Gallagher is probably suggesting the best procedure. I would point out that that we have a couple of provisions for which we've written language where if there's less than a year or two in an unexpired term, that we've given the executive the option to make a recommendation that would finish the unexpired term plus the next one. So that probably is an option, although it's not expressly authorized like it is for a couple of the other positions. Thank you.
Councilman.
Just so I understand, the term we're talking about is ending this December 31st?
Correct. We were the charter language. It was ambiguous on this point as to it said that members of the audit committee go one of the residents goes 1 year and one of the residents goes 2 years beyond the current executive's term. Well, we changed executives, so the other position had been left open for so long that it was unclear as to which was which's term. So initially we had thought this was the 2-year term. We've done more research. It looks like this is the 1 year into the next executive's term. So again, when we're looking at less than or approximately 6 months left in this term, we believe Mr. Seamus is an exceptionally qualified nominee. We'd like him to fulfill this term, but we would very much like him to continue beyond that as well.
And Mr. Glassburn, this legislation here expresses for the 6 months and the additional term, correct?
Yes. So we believe that the correct legal way to approach this is for this to be broken up into 2 resolutions, which we would like to fulfill the balance of the term today, and at a point that council and the administration agrees upon to come back with the second resolution, whether that's 3 months from now or when we come to an agreement as to what's the appropriate time.
Madam Chair.
Councilman.
I understand Mr. Gallagher's point, but the fact that if this man is qualified, it's going to be the same committee it's going to hear this in 3 months, and for him to have to come back and for us to hear this again, I think we should go ahead and pass this and then have a resolution for the next term introduced, and we could pass it under suspension of the rules. That's just my feeling, to come back. There is no rule about how early you can nominate somebody for a position, and I don't think we really need to do this twice. If it's going to be if this was at the end of a term and there's new council people or somebody else, that's going to be different. But, you know, we're going to be making the recommendation. I just can't see us doing it twice.
Councilman?
My only point is procedure. How long has this been vacant?
At least 18 months.
Okay, so the opportunity for the administration to appoint has dragged on. Understanding that the new administration coming in, and we know how daunting it is when you do come in, but as important as this position is, as we have found this position to be vacant as long as it has been detrimental, in my opinion, to the county. I would still procedurally just move forward for the expiration of this term. He doesn't have to come back because we know him, he's on the board, and just do the resolution in 3 months. Be done with it. Just procedurally. I mean, you can do what you want, but it's not like it's been vacant for a week or two. Opportunity has been sitting there, not just with this administration, but the previous administration, who, for whatever reason, thought it not important to move forward. The new administration obviously has the unfortunate, fortunate position of sitting here listening to me say that they've had 6 months, or 7 months, but I understand how difficult it's been for the new administration getting everything fixed from the previous administration, for the record. So we can leave it as is. I'm fine with that, but procedurally, I just think we should move them and then resubmit in 3 months, and because we're going to run into this again, and I just think procedurally we'd be better off. But it's up to chair.
Madam Chair, it's not my place to tell the council how to conduct their business. We would be fine with submitting this and, again, resubmitting in 3 months. I'm not sure that Mr. Seamus needs to come in a second time, but if we want to procedurally submit it again, we vote, or I'm sorry, you vote. That's more than fine. Our internal goal with the system that we've been trying to develop, we're trying to develop a new computerized system for this, is to submit nominees to council sometime between 4 and 3 months out from a term expiring. So that's generally when we would like to be submitting nominees.
But in moving forward, Mr. Glassburn, if we, for procedurally sake, we break this up into 2 resolutions, after the council votes, you would know going forward to resubmit his name again?
Correct.
Okay. And so would that require us to amend this legislation or let it to go, stay as it is? Amend it? Okay. All right. Sorry about that. If Mr. Seamus could come up. Yes. Good morning.
Good morning.
Well, is this the first time that you've been on this committee?
This is the first time.
Okay. Well, we welcome you, and we always like the residents of Cuyahoga County to see who is fulfilling the board chairs, because we are live stream. So we welcome you this morning, and we'd like you to just tell us why you're interested in this position and a little bit about your background.
Well, maybe if it's okay, let me start with my background and then why I'm interested. But I have a master's of accounting from Ohio State, and I have been a CPA for 37 years. And in my career, I started with a Big Four accounting firm, and then joined a small firm in Cleveland, actually South Euclid, that my dad started. And in my career, starting in 1991, I grew my firm from about 7 people to over 600 people, and we became the 37th largest firm in the United States. During that time, I ran the firm. I was the managing partner for 30 years. During my tenure, I was just computing that my firm conducted over 30,000 audits with no audit failures out of the 30,000. We had a perfect record. Effective January 1st of this year, we sold my practice to BDO, the 5th largest accounting firm in the world that had no offices in Ohio. And I am now employed by BDO. I'm a national partner, and I focus on strategy for them. So that's what I'm doing today. I was invited to sit in on the last meeting of the audit committee, which I did sit in on. And after just participating in the meeting, I really felt that I could bring incredible value to what's being done. I think there can be some more infrastructure, there could be some more organization. I think it could be much more strategic in the way it operates. There is a lot of low-hanging fruit. And the reason I'm here is because I have been childhood friends with Mr. Budish, and he knows me, and he asked me if I would get involved. And I am involved in so many things that my biggest concern was, can I add one more? But after going to the meeting, I really felt that in a short time I could make things a lot better. So that's why I decided to say yes.
All right. Do you think in any of your other duties, do you sit on any other boards or commissions?
No, I do not. Okay. Everything I sit on is either some charitable organization, social organization, private organization.
All right. Any questions from the committee? Councilman Gallagher.
Thank you. The discussion we had about the wording and which we're going to do here, I would assume, Madam Chair, we're going to move with the unexpired term. Mm-hmm. And then with the chair's permission, you wouldn't have to come back in when you're resubmitted in September or October. So you wouldn't, this is the last time you'll see us.
I would vote for you if I was in your district.
It's just, I'm just worried, we're going to run into this again.
No,
we're still a new government, believe it or not. And we run into situations like this, and we just have to, I think, be consistent.
Yeah, I was on the original committee to form the new government, so
yeah,
I'm somewhat aware of it.
Thank you. I don't have any questions, but I just wanted to explain myself.
Any other questions from the committee? Councilman Miller.
I would just like to thank you for your willingness to serve, and we on the council feel that the audit committee function is one that can be improved and help the county make progress, and we're going to consider a charter amendment which would actually have there be the council president and 4 citizens on the audit committee instead of the current composition, which would create a more independent structure. So, but that wouldn't affect you. You would remain as one of the citizen members on the committee. So I just wanted to make you aware that that's out there for consideration.
Well, just when I was on the committee, I noticed an audit committee should be independent, and this audit committee was totally conflicted. And I immediately brought that up to Armand as to, how do we get this changed so it's independent? And obviously there's some thought to that. So I would absolutely concur with it, and I would be willing to help you with that too if I could.
Just to make you aware, we actually placed a charter amendment of this type on the ballot last year.
Right.
But the way it was written, we were not allowed to explain about the independence in the ballot language, and it was not well understood, and it didn't pass. But we think we can correct that problem, and so the new amendment has been written, and we're expecting to hear it in committee within the next couple of weeks, and hopefully get it on the ballot for this November.
Councilman.
Just since this this whole topic of independence has come up, there's a couple different I don't want to say positions that the council's taking. I think we all agree that there should be independence. the one side said, or thinks that, you know, having the fiscal officer and the executive appoint hampers the independence. The other side, and which is my thought, is, you know, the audit committee should be a tool, and the fiscal officer and the executive should be able to use that tool to improve a department that they think needs more work, not to protect it in any way. So in both cases, we want good individuals being on that on that committee, and so I personally think I'm for just leaving it as is, and the caliber of the people that they appoint is going to be the most important thing. And I thank you for volunteering to be part of this committee.
Well, thank you, Mr. Seamus, for your commitment to serve, and thank you for coming down. We do appreciate it,
Okay, you're welcome.
and we will try our very best not to have you come down in 3 months. All right, I would like to make a motion to amend this legislation to reflect the unexpired term ending in December 2015. Is there a second? Second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Now, as to the merits, I would like to make a motion to pass this legislation to the full council as amended. Is there a second?
For suspension.
Under suspension. Second reading suspension. Yes. Is there a second? All in favor say aye. Aye. Thank you. Chrissy, if you could read the next item into the record, please.
Resolution 2015-0108, a resolution confirming the county executive's appointment or reappointment of various individuals to serve on the Cuyahoga County Planning Commission for the term 1/1/2015 through 12/31/2017, and declaring the necessity that this resolution become immediately effective for the individuals as printed on the agenda.
All right. Mr. Glassberg.
Thank you. So the Planning Commission consists of 11 members, one appointee from the executive, which will be Mr. Kelly, 2 appointees from council, and 8 mayors, which are selected from specific regions throughout the county. One of the regions being the city of Cleveland, but the rest somewhat mirror the council and state representative districts throughout the county. The nominees that we have today, all 3 mayors, very generously came in this morning. They're all longtime mayors in their communities. They are very well. They're very competent and viewed as very exceptional public servants, and we believe that they also represent the diversity of the county, not just the diversity of their individual districts. So we would strongly encourage you to consider all 3. And Mr. Kelly as our executive nominee. If Mr. Coyne would like to, from the Planning Commission, has anything he'd like to say about what the Planning Commission does as its business, I would encourage council to give him that opportunity.
Mr. Coyne.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning, committee. Glenn Coyne, Executive Director of County Planning. Chris did a good job of summarizing. We do have 11 members. We're very active. We meet at least 6 times a year. We just met last Thursday where we welcomed Councilmember Brown to our meeting for the first time. And of course, Councilperson Simon has been on our board for quite some time. So we are very active in helping the communities with master plans right now, as you probably have heard, and some other regional efforts that we're involved in. Might have heard about the East Side Greenway project, other countywide planning efforts. So we want to continue that. We want to have an active board. The 2 members.
We just wanted to give you a little music.
It's very calming to hear that music. The 2 members that are being asked to be reappointed have been extremely well. They've attended every meeting. They've participated. They've really advanced our work. And I'm certain that the person who's being recommended for appointment for the first time will also live up to that. So we're very excited to have a full board again. We are scheduled to have a meeting July 9th, so I would respectfully request that this move forward as quickly as possible, but if not, we can get by with the quorum that we have. Also, building on the last conversation that you had a minute ago, we will have 2 members that will be up for reappointment at the end of this year. Neither of these 3, but 2 different mayors. So we will make sure that we work with Executive's office to get those nominees to you at the right time, so those terms don't expire. So I'm happy to answer any other questions, but again, we do have an active board. We are very happy to have the mayors attend, and it adds a lot to the conversations of our work that we do. So thank you very much.
Mr. Coyne, if you could just go over how the other mayors are appointed. I got 1 from the executive and 2 from county council, and how is the remainder?
There are 11 members. 3 are 1 is the county executive, 2 as of recent legislation are county council members. 1, as Mr. Glassburn mentioned, is the city of Cleveland, and the mayor typically appoints their planning director. So Mr. Freddie Collier is the member representing the city of Cleveland. And that leaves the other 7 districts throughout the county. So each district is represented by a mayor or chief elected official. As it turns out right now, the lead trustee from Olmsted Township, Sherry Lippis, is a member of the Planning Commission representing that district of the county. So we have the 7 districts, and they're on staggered terms. So each year we have either 2 or 3 of those come up. And typically a name is advanced by the executive to council for ratification on our board. It's the way that's been working.
Councilman Miller.
Are the mayors allowed to send designees to the meeting, or do the mayors attend personally?
That's a great question, Councilmember Miller. Prior to my arrival here 3 years ago, the mayors on our board decided amongst themselves that they would not appoint representatives, but that they would themselves try to attend. And perhaps Mayor Enfeld or Mayor Gordon could expand on that. But my understanding is that they decided that it was important enough that they wanted to try to make those meetings. So they have not typically appointed or sent a designee to our meetings.
Okay.
What is the quorum to vote?
It's usually 1 more than 50%. So we've typically not had a problem reaching a quorum.
All right.
We have had a problem with parking, though, on certain occasions, as you may expect with playoffs and baseball and things like
Go
that.
Cavs, right?
Exactly right. Good problem to have.
Any other questions from the committee? All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. If Mayor Brad Sellers could come up, please. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you for your commitment to want to serve.
Good morning, Madam Chair, Council. Good morning.
Are you suiting up tonight?
No, I wish I could. Okay. I'd give my job salary back for just 5 minutes of that action. Just 5 minutes.
You could get a ring real quick, right?
Listen, I just want to see Cleveland do well, right? And I said, we're right here knocking on the door. I would like to see us cross the finish line.
When we do well, Warrensville does well, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely.
Can you share a little bit what your interest is in this planning commission?
I will tell you that first it was an honor to be considered. My background before becoming mayor was 11 years as the city's Warrensville Heights Economic Development Director. So planning is in my background. It is still what I continue to do today in conjunction with being mayor of the great city of Warrensville Heights. I just think that from the planning perspective countywide, it takes a viewpoint of those who are not so parochial to look at it in a bigger picture. I think I've demonstrated in at least my doings that I've been able to do that. And so I just thought it was an excellent opportunity for me to help this county grow, really. And so I'm not so much interested in what happens to Warrensville, but I'm more interested in seeing what happens in this county, which ultimately will affect Warrensville in the long run.
Any questions from the committee? Anything else you'd like to share?
No,
we'd like
Get
you.
your popcorn tonight.
We do thank you for coming down.
We're going back to Oakland on Friday. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Mayor Enfield. We also want to thank you for coming down, your busy schedule. But this is very important to the residents of Cuyahoga County, so we do.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. Susan Infeld, Mayor of University Heights. I love being on the County Planning Commission, and since this is televised, I thought I'd bring a few things. One is the most recent agenda from the last meeting, and Councilwoman Brown was there. But the Planning Commission does a lot of fun, really interesting things that matter to the development of Cuyahoga County. And one of the most interesting things that came up at the last meeting last week was this green print guidebook that will be put on the County Planning Commission's website to give everybody an online tool to help them with planning projects in their own communities. And this is something that was put together by all the planners at the Planning Commission. So as a mayor who manages a city, I really value what I learn from those planners. My background is financial before I entered public service, and I might be unique among the Planning Commission members. I didn't grow up in this area. I grew up in the city of Chicago, and so I bring a different perspective because I moved here as an adult. So I saw development, obviously, as a child and as a young adult living in another community that I think lends to what I can bring to the Planning Commission.
Any questions for the mayor? And is this I know you're being reappointed. How many terms have you served before?
Just one.
Just one? All right. Councilman?
Madam Chair, to the question, you were there when the group decided to not have designees. Do you care to just elaborate on that at all?
You know, it is really pretty much a small board. I think we consider ourselves very small, even though we number, I guess, in the double digits technically. But we really take this work very seriously, and it's a good interaction that we have with the executive director, with the planning team there, and it really is, very collegial. And so I can't think of any time in the 4 years that I've served that anybody has ever sent an alternate. We really just are that invested. I'm not trying to sound Pollyanna-ish about this, but we really do believe in the importance of the work of the County Planning Commission. And, we want to show that by our actual presence at the meetings.
Madam Chair.
Councilman Miller.
Last evening, I attended the meeting of the Economic Development Committee where we spent 2 hours discussing the Year 5 version of the county's economic development plan. And two projects of the County Planning Commission featured prominently in that plan. One being the development of the placemaking strategy, and the second being the housing plan, and so I just want to echo your sentiments as to how important this work is, and really has the potential to improve both the economy and the quality of life in Cuyahoga County. And I appreciate your willingness to serve.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Brown.
I just want to make a comment. I did have as they mentioned, the opportunity to attend my first meeting, and I wasn't sure what to expect. And I will say that it is a very dynamic group. The meeting was very informative. I was excited to learn about the Greenfield tool that will be accessible to the community to be able to develop master plans for their city. I think it's the committee is going to be the committee is a great foundation for our county and the people that are working together have a great unity. So I'm excited to see you come back, as I've had the pleasure of working with you as well as Mayor Sellers in a much closer relationship. And so I'm looking forward to being a part of this committee and having you come back. So I just wanted to echo your sentiments and welcome you and thank you for your service. And
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, everyone.
Mayor Gordon.
Good morning, Madam Chair.
Good morning.
Would you like me to start, or would you like to have some questions first?
You can share. You can start, Mayor.
Thank you very much. Mr. Glassburn, members that are sitting on the panel this morning, and for sure my good friend, Mr. Coyne, in the audience. I have been fortunate enough to serve on the County Planning Commission, not only during this administration, but a previous one. And my background with the city of Beechwood, since I've been mayor for approximately 20 years now, and I firmly believe in local commitment, local government, is that the more you get involved, the more you understand, and the more you have appreciation for what is around you and what is important in life. We have a very diverse community in the city of Beechwood. We promote economic development to the point that we have done within the past 10 years over $1 billion in improvements in the city, whether it's infrastructure, buildings, or so forth. And we want to continue that. We are one community that is fortunate enough to have 3 interchanges off I-271. And because of that, we have a lot of people that come into our community. We value economic development, we value good plans, and we have signed up with the county to do a study in the city of Beechwood to help guide us down the road. And so far it's been very, very successful. I don't think that we could have done better if we would have hired somebody from the outside to come in and review what is happening with the city of Beechwood. Dealing with the county and Mr. Coyne, they have an appreciation for what is in this region, which is very important. So everything sort of meshes together and we understand what is valued and what is needed to move forward. During my tenure as mayor, I was very fortunate to work very closely with former Mr. Sellers, who is now Mayor Sellers, and he was part of our economic development team in the city of Beechwood. And when I heard that he was seriously considering a run for politics in a different position and thought of moving into Beechwood, we actually asked him to leave his post so I wouldn't have any competition if he was serious about running for mayor. And he has done a magnificent job in the city of Warrensville Heights. But along with myself and my colleagues, we all work together. The County Planning Commission is a group that is very dedicated, very devoted. And that's why each one of the members that serve want to serve on it themselves. They don't want to send a designee. You get a flavor for what's at that meeting. You get a flavor for what's happening in the region. And that's what's really important. We can act individually, but at the end of the day, we all have to have a master plan and work together. And that's why this commission, headed up by Mr. Coyne, is so important, that we understand what is happening in the region. So when we make a move and the others do, we don't conflict one another and try to go opposing each other. So I would feel honored if you reappointed me, and if you don't and you want to select somebody else, I totally understand that. But I still feel I have something to offer this region, and working with the county executive, the administration, and the people that are in front of this this government makes it very important and very challenging. I think it's a great opportunity to force yourself to come downtown on a regular basis. You get to see what's happening, and I think it's very important to be here in front of the commission. And I'd be more than glad to answer any questions that you have.
Mayor Gordon, could you share with the committee your role you have played on the Planning Commission thus far?
Well, I'm a very active member in the Planning Commission. Each one of us basically serves in a very similar capacity, but we just serve different regions. I represent the Hillcrest region, which is made up of several cities. There is a map that I believe each one of you have, and you've probably seen it and reviewed it. So it's important to know what your neighbors are doing, and it's important to make sure that we don't conflict with one another. By serving on this commission, we hear different ideas. We spend time together. It's on a regular basis. It's just not an ad hoc committee. Whenever there's something to discuss, we get together. And I can tell you that the structure of the Planning Commission is most important because the information that we receive prepares us for what our meetings are. None of us go into these meetings blind. Mr. Coyne and his team of individuals who have really blazed trails for this region is something that we challenge and value very, very much. So when we come to a meeting, they're productive meetings. You know, we could be there approximately an hour and a half, sometimes 2 hours. But whatever it is, nobody is in a hurry to get out or say, I have to leave.
When we talk about the Hillcrest region, how many cities is in your region?
I believe there's 7 cities in the region that I represent.
Okay.
I don't have them by memory, but
that's okay.
One of the reasons I don't, and I am not playing naive, is that we in Cuyahoga County, as far as mayors, have a strong, very strong Mayors and Managers Association, as you're probably aware of, and also working with the city of Cleveland, Mayor Jackson, and for sure the county executive, Armin Budish. We all work closely together. So where the line falls doesn't mean our responsibility stops. So we all work very close and try to represent each other, and we do.
Okay. Any discussion on Lake Erie projects?
I think it's long overdue, in my estimation. I think we have one of the best natural resources in Cleveland that most states, most cities don't have. For us not to take advantage of Lake Erie, not only for recreational purposes, but for economic development purposes, we're missing the boat. I could never understand myself with having 2 major hospital associations in the city of Cleveland, both the clinic, UH, and not taking away from Metro or the other hospital associations that are here, that we have as few pharmaceutical companies in this region as we do. They all need water, and we have an abundance of water. So why they're not here, I can't tell you. But to me, that just never made any sense. We're more than just a steel community, and we've proven that over the years.
All right. Councilman Miller.
I know that each of you as mayors are very busy people and have a lot of responsibilities and a lot of demands on your time. And I just want to say what a show of respect it is that all 3 of you are here personally today. And it shows a lot of respect for this committee and for the council and the work of the Planning Commission. And I just want to say that I appreciate it very much and thank you for your service.
Well, thank you, but I've always felt that when you take upon a commitment, it's your responsibility to fulfill that commitment, whatever it is. And if you can't, you shouldn't accept the position. And I've always been that way.
Councilwoman Brown.
Question might actually be for Mr. Coyne or Chris. The Mayor Sellers is filling a vacancy for the Chagrin Southeast region. Who was the prior representative, or has it remained open since the commission?
The position that Mayor Sellers is filling is actually not a vacancy. It's currently occupied by Mayor Kalova of Garfield Heights.
Right.
Any other questions or statements? Thank you again, Mayor Gordon.
Thank you very much, and I appreciate any consideration. Thank you.
Thank you to all the mayors that came down this morning. We do appreciate, this was started in 2011. This committee believed in openness and transparency for the county to see who represents on the boards and commissions. And over the years, we do appreciate the time that people come down. We do know that life sometimes interferes and people can't come before the committee, and we do have other alternative solutions to meet those measures. But to say since 2011, by far, most people that are committed to serve, whether they've been asked to appoint and they accepted the duty, or they filled out an application and inquired, they have shown their commitment and have come down to this committee. So we thank you once again, and enjoy your day. Go Cavs. All right, for the vote, can I have a motion to move this to the full council for second reading suspension?
I so move.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Is there any miscellaneous business? Chrissy?
No miscellaneous business.
All right. Any other public comment?
No, Madam Chair, no one has signed in.
All right. This meeting is adjourned.